after a memorable performance at the Denver Motorsports Park road course that saw Henry Thomas end his winless streak at long last at 1,873 days, we are now here under the lights at Chicagoland Speedway for race number 22 of the Nitro National Series season for one-up competition in 2024. And now that we're back on the ovals for the rest of the season, it's going to get a lot more unpredictable, I'm sure of it, as these 42 drivers are going to take on 67 laps around the high bank Chicagoland Speedway here today. And alongside me to bring you all the action once again is Duke Gansack, as it's been for much of the season. It's great to have you back with us. The question I have becomes this. We've seen over the course of this weekend and in previous years here that with the progressive banking at Chicagoland, you're going to want to be on that outside to make passes today. Will we see some monumental runs that could generate a different outcome than we were perhaps expecting?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be total chaos today. I'm predicting that much. It's going to be incredible. The closer you are to the wall, the more speed you're going to have down the straightaways, and that's where you can really make some hay here at Chicagoland Speedway. But it's a big risk to go higher up on the track. Being closer to the wall means you have a higher chance of hitting it coming out of the corner. And with everything on the line, only 4 races remain, including this one, you're going to have to put it all out there. But you're going to have to try to be careful a little bit too, because if you crash out now, if you're one of those guys in the top, between top 4 and top 8 in the playoffs, you have no room. You can't have another bad race. You really absolutely need to capitalize and make as much points as you can today, next week, and every single week in the remaining races. So everybody knows that based on how many playoff drivers are starting in the top 10 and top 15 in this one. It is a lot in the starting lineup,
which we can now bring to you now. And starting on pole for today's race, Miles Mashburn making a guest appearance in the Nitro National Series. Remember, he's won here at Chicagoland before in the Nitro National Series, so great hunting ground for him to collect some hardware. This is also where he got his first Superstar win all those years ago. So great track for the 72 team. They line up on pole position, but further back in the field, actually not that far behind, you got 5 playoff drivers starting directly behind him, including the points leader in 6th place, Henry Thomas. After that amazing win at Denver, he's got the opportunity to extend his points lead over Cody Goforth, who starts 9th. The 2 drivers only 2 points apart going into tonight.
Yeah, and this is going to be an incredible race, and it could be a make-or-break race for 3 drivers that I've identified. Drivers that you're going to hear a lot, and you've already heard a lot about during this season. It is Henry Thomas, like you just mentioned, our points leader, only 2 points ahead of Cody Goforth in the number 01 car. He's starting in 9th. You're going to want to keep your eye out on him. And Earl Sear starting in 8th. He's only 15 points back right now from Henry Thomas. Those are the 3 drivers that are closest in the points battle, and any one of those 3 drivers could win the championship, and today is going to be a big determining factor to decide who is going to have the best chance going into the final 3 races.
So with that being said, we have 42 drivers set to take the green flag here at Chicagoland, and we are ready to bring you that action now. For the 22nd time this season, this is the One-Up Nitro National Series. It's the playoffs from Chicagoland, and the green flag is getting set to drop on the field and get another fantastic race underway for us. This could be a big day for our championship contenders, but it is Miles Mashburn leading us to the green flag, which is now in the air. We are underway at Chicagoland for 67 laps, and it looks as though it's going to be fairly even. For the first few rows, I see a few people going 3 wide further back, but Miles Mashburn's got the launch off the line. But look at them all fanning out 3 wide already. That no one's wanted to waste any time tonight.
Yeah, and all these drivers, there's a lot of cars in a very short, small space right now. Ryan Griffin going for the lead on the bottom through turns 3 and 4. Make sure you keep your eye out for the cars with the blue spoilers and the blue side skirts. Those are the playoff drivers that you want to watch for today. But Miles Mashburn spoiling the party on lap 1. He keeps the lead from the pole, and he's driving away right now. And close behind him is Kev Shearer from the 4th starting spot.
Yeah, and here comes Henry Thomas from 6th, rocketing around the outside. He is wanting to continue his good momentum from Denver. He surges ahead of Kev Shearer. Logan Williams as well, up to 4th, as Ryan Griffin, the outside pole sitter, starting to drown a bit in the opening laps.
Yeah, we saw that outside lane, a big run from Henry Thomas through turns 1 and 2. So the back straightaway here at Chicagoland Speedway, it's a curving back straightaway, so it's a little bit of a wider exit. You can see it right there in that shot very well, how it's not completely straight. You're always turning at this track. Something to keep in mind for these drivers throughout the rest of the race.
And look who's on the outside of the 92 now. Cody Goforth does not want Henry Thomas to get another point for leading a lap. He needs to gain as much as he can on the number 12. But Kev Shearer, he doesn't want to waste any time either. Even though he's mired deeper in the points hole, he needs to maximize every race from here on out if he's going to have a chance. But I think Henry Thomas is going to have the measure of him off the top rope.
Yeah, Kev Shearer is 68 points behind the leader in the playoffs right now, Henry Thomas, and that isn't insurmountable, but it is a deep hole to try to climb out of. With only 4 races left, he needs every point he can get.
And speaking of needing every point he can get, Goforth dives to the inside, 3 wide into turn 1. Williams up top, Ellison in the middle, Robert Weaver trying to stick his nose in as well. Goforth trying to hang tough on the inside, but look at this. Mashburn moves down to defend position. Henry Thomas and Kev Shearer now right on his tailgate.
This is interesting to see how many people are running low right now. I expect that as the tires start to wear here at Chicago, people are going to start migrating a little bit higher up the track, and I think that that's going to be the place to be eventually. But right now, on the bottom, it's Kev Shearer going for the move over Henry Thomas, but on the outside lane, Henry Thomas is going to get a big run towards the lead, side by side for the top spot.
And he is not wanting to lose touch of any momentum that he has had in this race. Thomas to the outside of the 72. We're going to have our first lead change of the day on lap number 6. Here comes car number 12, Henry Thomas, picking up right where he left off at Denver last week.
Yeah, that really didn't take him long at all. He started in the 6th position, and now he's all the way up into 1st. He knows everything is on the line right now. He's got only a small lead. He wants to extend it today. The best way to do it, go out there and win the race. That's going to automatically get you a points gain over everybody else. So we'll see how it plays out through the rest of the day. But Henry Thomas right now looking really good. That car is flying.
And we got some more playoff contenders in the top 10 to talk about. Ryan Arnold started 12th. Ryan Reed in the top 10. He's had a bit of a rough playoff stretch. He started 5th today. He's fallen back a bit. But Henry Thomas starting to streak away from the rest of the field. That is not what these guys wanted to see. No less, least of which being that 01 Army car.
Yeah, for sure. And he hasn't really been able, once he got up to 6th place, hasn't really been able to make a lot of progress. There's just too many cars all around him right now. He needs to have this spread out a little bit more so he can use those lines, different lines around some of these cars he's trying to pass. And he's side by side. There's a little bit of contact. He was on the apron right there with James Ellison. You got to be careful.
Oh, we got a big crash, 1 and 2. We got several cars involved. It looks like Stanley Andrews in the 30. Oh, and we got more contact. Aiden Clare, Alexa Lucian in the 25 this week. Nick Breeding looks to be done for today. Andrews involved. Mike Edwards involved.
Oh, geez. This is kind of a big one here. I haven't seen any playoff drivers involved yet.
None of them were really that far back in the field, but still a lot of drivers who were hoping for good days, and Alexa Lucian you really got a feel for in this, hopping in for a one-off appearance in this 25, hoping to improve the team's standing, but a wreck like this early on is certainly not going to help matters.
No, not at all, and we're going to take a look at the leaders here before we get any replays. You can see everybody who is involved in this crash pulling into the pit lane right now.
Claire's out of the race. He couldn't do much more of that. Edwards as well. And I expect Nick Breeding to join them. But here's something we're going to...
Everybody pitting here.
Yeah, that's going to be something we're going to be talking about a lot. The need for fresh tires at all times. These guys are going wicked fast around here. They cannot afford to stay out on old rubber when everyone else is coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were some drivers that are probably pretty thankful for this caution right now to allow them to work on their cars. After that first stage, I think that one driver that didn't want to see the caution was Henry Thomas from the lead. We'll see if he's able to keep it despite not having the #1 pit stall here at Chicagoland. So this will be interesting as they come off the pit lane. There he is right now, the number 12 machine.
Yeah,
Ushan not part of this battle.
Yeah, it looks like most of the field taking 2 tires on this sequence.
I don't know if it's the white line or the yellow line, but the 72 got to the white line first, so I guess we'll see how that plays out when they get out on the track.
But for now, our main focus is on what happens to bring out this first caution of the race. It's going to come out. It's brought the field to a stop on lap number 9, and these guys, 3 cars out of the race already, and a few more with a significant amount of damage that will surely hinder them for the rest of the day. So this is around where it started. You see Riley Hooper directly ahead of this mess. Braden Varga directly behind it. There's the playoff drivers you were talking about, but it looks as though Breeding and Andrews are the ones who touched it off.
Yeah, Braden Varga saw his playoff hopes going up in smoke right there and was able to avoid it. A lot of hard contact for everybody that did get involved, however. Wow, close call there.
Yeah, Nikki Martinez was hoping for better as well in this race, but she as well gets involved in this contact, and a lot of drivers were hoping for better, but it's all going to go wrong for them in the early stages here at Chicagoland Speedway. More replays to come. So yeah, it's where Breeding and Andrews were running. That's what starts all this. And you be the judge on this one, but I think Breeding just got into the right rear corner of the 30, and that's what touched this whole mess off.
Yeah, that is tough. It almost looked like the 30 went down in there, maybe got a little bit slower than they were expecting, and it just all stacked up and then nowhere to go as everybody slid up the track there. So that's why, I mean, it's just a big gaggle of cars right there, nowhere to go for any of those drivers after the contact is made.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for sure for all these guys, but we're back to the live feed now, and the lights are out on the pace car, so we're going to get a restart, and Stanley Andrews did lose a lap due to repairs. What I'm curious of, are those repairs sufficient enough? Because this is one of those tracks where the officials are keeping a close eye on these guys for minimum speed, and if you don't, because this is a fast track, and they come up on slow cars very quickly here. If you don't have the car sufficiently repaired and can't keep up in a reasonable way, they're going to call you in. So I'm curious to see what happens to this 30 car on the restart.
Yeah, well, the call-in won't happen until at least a lap after the restart. I mean, because just physically the car can't come off the track. So that means this restart will be impacted by that 30 car. Who is going to benefit from this the most? Who's going to lose out from this, if anybody? It could be interesting because that 30 car on the inside lane could cause some big issues for some of these leaders. We got a lot of playoff cars right up front right now. So the 12 car is going to lead the way on the restart ahead of Miles Mashburn. Robert Weaver in the 66 is also right up there. The 83 car in 4th, and we'll see what Kev Shearer can do. He was fighting with the 12 car earlier today. Here they come to the restart.
Green flag back in the air. We're underway once again from Chicagoland, and you can see the drop-off in pace immediately apparent from that 30 car. Oh, and he's making contact with his teammate, James Ellison. That's not going to help matters at Crossroads Racing, but the officials are not going to be too kind on this because he's stacking up pretty much the entire second half of the field here.
Yeah, look at this. Here's some drivers that are impacted right now. Ryan Griffin, Earl Sear, those 2 drivers. Oh, and Elijah Ironhouse as well in the playoffs.
Jensen Nomina, Ryan Reed.
Yeah, now that outside lane is really being impacted by this. Even if the 30 wanted to pull off the track, he can't right now because he's stuck in this 3 wide situation. He's about to go 4 wide. This could be an accident going down into turn 1. Just so slow that car is not able to keep the speed up. And there goes Ironhouse. Gets through it cleanly, but look at the rest of the pack. Just nowhere to go to pass the 30.
I think he's trying to get out of the way, but where can he get out of the way? He might try and drift.
Nowhere right now. It's like a speedway race.
Yeah, and the officials are probably going to drop the hammer any minute now on this one.
We're getting word now that he will have to come to the pit lane if he gets the opportunity to come out of this race. That is not a big surprise at all.
And meanwhile, up at the front, Miles Mashburn has retaken the lead from Henry Thomas.
On the outside.
Yeah,
must have done some work on that car to help him out on that outside lane. He wasn't able really to run it, and there's the 30 coming off the track for good in this one, just not able to repair that car sufficiently to keep pace with everybody else.
Now, there's a car to keep your eye on as well, Alexa Luchon in the 25. She is also quite a bit slower than the field, but nowhere near as bad as the 30 was, I think.
No, it doesn't look like it.
I think they're going to let her hang it out there, because she's only about 0.7 of a second off the pace, as opposed to 4 seconds that the 30 was. But here comes a side-by-side fight for the lead once again. Thomas on the inside, Mashburn on the outside, with Robert Weaver waiting in the wings in case these two have it coming together.
Yeah, I like the outside lane right there. 72 is going to get a huge run out of that corner. I'm shocked that nobody is running higher right now. I think that during the beginning of the run, you want to try to run low, keep those tires a little fresher, use a little bit less throttle and less spinning, but I don't know, that outside lane is just so tempting because you can get such a big run. I'm surprised that less people are using it up front to try to make positions. We'll see. There's the 83 going by.
Oh man, he's getting a huge run. Wow. 1 and 2. He just
I think the 12 had a problem.
Well, he sailed past Thomas and Weaver like they were sitting still on the racetrack. So Williams now up into the runners-up spot, setting off after Miles Mashburn. Now Goforth's going to make a tear on the top, trying to pass his championship rival as they run right now. I think it would even out because Thomas has a bonus point. Goforth does not.
Yeah, and this is interesting. Henry Thomas on that inside lane. Wow, there's almost contact right there. The 01 and the 66. But Henry Thomas lost a lot of momentum, must have had to get off the throttle a little bit and slowed up that whole inside lane, and now has fallen back quite significantly in the top 10. That 12 car, keep an eye on that, see how that progresses. He went from the lead all the way back to where he is now in about, what is that, 8th place, I think?
Checking the scoreboard, 7th position for Henry Thomas. That's not what the team wants. They want to gain as many points as they can on Goforth while they have the momentum on their side. But it's all Miles Mashburn so far in this race. He's led the majority of it. And although Williams going to make a run at it off of 4, Goforth going to try and follow him through. Williams weaving every which way he possibly can to try and set up a run on the 72 into 1.
Yeah, Logan Williams has a big draft, and that car is on rails right now. He's been doing a great job weaving his way through the field, and with the help of Cody Goforth down the straightaways, pushing him from behind, that 83 car has been on fire. He enters this race only 42 points back from the leader. He's in 5th place right now in the championship standings, and we'll see what happens here. He's trying to defend that position against Cody Goforth, who's on the bottom lane.
But I think that's going to help him on the 72, because look at the run he's going to get on the top of the track. I think Mashburn is going to have enough real estate to close it off, but that's still a very good run from the 83 when he really needs it.
Yeah, great day right now. He should be able to gain significant points on a lot of these drivers if he could stay up there. However, that 01 car is one of the cars that he really needs to finish farther back in the field so that he can gain points on. And right now, running in 3rd place, just there's not a lot of points to gain on Cody Goforth.
Yeah, there's only 5 points that he's gaining on the 01, but now the 01 makes the jump up to the top of the track to try and make some hay up there. And these
stay up there.
Yeah, and these 3 are starting to pull away from the group behind. And I think what you're saying about these guys hanging low, I think that might be where the cars handle the best, but they're not as fast on that bottom lane. Although, and here comes Goforth, making a move to the inside. That's going to give Williams a great opportunity to go past, and look at him go.
Look at that. Yeah, just jumps up to that outside lane and absolutely rocket ships down the back straightaway. So now, edging ahead of the leader right now is Logan Williams in the 83 car on the outside lane. We'll see him in the second half of this corner through turn 4. He's going to get a big run. He might lead to the line.
And they're side by side, coming to the stripe, nose to nose. 6 1,000ths of a second separated the top 2 at the line. These guys are not wasting any time. They're going all in at Chicagoland. hoping for a win, because Mashburn, he doesn't care about the championship except for his driver, who's mired deep in the playoff hole at the moment, so he really has no stake. And neither does this 7 car, who's making a huge run around the outside.
Oh, look at this. They've been racing side by side, and now the 7 is going to go for the lead. Oh, a big block from Logan Williams to try to keep the lead. That 83 car, he's gotten the point for leading the lap. He might have an opportunity to lead the most laps in this one if he could stay out there. That's what he's thinking about, maximizing the points day if he can. But he has a lot of challengers from behind, especially that 7 car who had a big run down the front straightaway last time by.
But now Kanalka's holding up Goforth a little bit and blocking him into the path of Eric Monaco and Henry Thomas in the 12, who's continuing to hang in there. But looking further back in the field, this is Ryan Griffin, and we expected a lot from this team going into this race. He started on the outside pole, was having such a strong run up to this point, but now he's mired quite a ways outside the top 10, and I think that might just be on pace.
Yeah, it just hasn't been a great day. He was held up a little bit by the 30 car earlier in this run, but he's had plenty of time to recover from that, and he just hasn't made a lot of progress so far. Ryan Griffin is 49 points out of the top spot in the championship standings right now, and just not what we were expecting from that team this year. It hasn't been very good for them, so they're looking to recover big in the last 4 races of the season.
Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, Goforth making a run around Monaco. Kanalka making a run around the outside of Mashburn. This is brilliant racing, it has to be said, at the front of the field. And we're just closing in on half race distance. Now Goforth trying to get to the outside of Mashburn, sending it off into turn 1. They're making a little contact for back in the pack, but it looks as though they're going to hang on to it.
Yeah, there was some contact back there, a little bit of sliding, but everything is okay for now. And Logan Williams is starting to drive away a little bit, so now he's running that bottom lane, of course, and you'd think the outside, of course, would be faster, but he's closing off that fresh air supply to the cars behind. He's making it so it's harder through the turns, but of course down the straightaway you can see there's Kanalka with a big draft down the straightaway. He's running about a half lane higher than Logan Williams. This is going to be a big move to the inside, possibly for the lead for Kanalka.
Here it comes, and here comes Mashburn trying to make it 3 wide down into turn 3.
He does.
A huge lunge down to the inside on Kanalka for 2nd spot. That is a very bold move, it has to be said, from Miles Mashburn. But now he's backed himself up into the Cody Goforth once again. It's going to be another big move. Kanalka to the inside, trying to get the lead. Goforth into the third. They make contact. Into the wall they go. And the championship favorite, Goforth, into the outside wall with Mashburn into turn 1. This is going to have huge ramifications, not just for this race, but for the championship as well.
That is unbelievable racing for the top 5, just some contact and straight up into the wall. That's going to end the race probably, or at least end his chances of contending for the win for Cody Goforth. And now it has been blown wide open for Henry Thomas, Earl Sear, and this brings into the picture Braden Varga, Logan Williams, Jensen Nomina even. All have a shot now to capitalize on a bad day for Goforth, who now has a ton of damage.
A huge moment, not just for this race, but for the title fight as well. And Miles Mashburn, it has to be said as well, he started on pole today, led 15 laps of this race, but he is not going to win again at Chicagoland. He is going to be out of this race, and surely this is going to bring everybody back down pit road again for another round of pit stops. But you're right, Cody Goforth, while he may not be out of the race yet, he's going to have a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I mean, with a damaged car, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to regain positions here. He might gain some, but it might not be a lot. We saw how slow the 30 car was with similar damage earlier, so we'll see what the 01 looks like after this. He's going to pit on time with everybody, so it won't go a lap down here probably, unless repairs take a while. But yeah, and then like you said, the 72 was definitely the favorite right now going into this race, and then throughout the race to possibly have a chance at winning. Oh, and there's some contact.
Yeah, that was Goforth trying to make his way into the pits and hit Kanalka in the process, but Kanalka is going to win the race off pit road quite handily, it has to be said.
Williams.
either a slow stop for Williams or a very quick one for Kanalka. Wyatt O'Quinn also gained a handful of spots in the pit lane. But, my goodness, yeah, there's Goforth. He's going to take a lot of time to repair this, and we're going to get you a replay soon of what transpired between the 01 and the 72. This has changed things big time. So we're coming in on this a little bit late, but yeah, Goforth just hooked him going into 1. I don't know if he was trying to get back in line behind him or if he was trying to make a move.
Yeah, he really turned left down the track in the middle of the corner almost. And yeah, that is an odd looking one. I'd like to get another look at it, of course, but they both went into the wall hard. 2 big hits, and especially for that 72 car. Wow, that car is damaged on both ends.
A destroyed 72 and a destroyed race for him as well. So here's a better look at this, and, well...
Tucked in behind him there.
Swings to the outside, thinks better of it, maybe, tries to tuck back in, but he was already ahead, had a nose ahead.
Oh, and hooked him. I mean, that's... I don't know. I mean, I have to place blame on that for the 01 of Cody Goforth. I'm surprised at that move, but he could have just stayed to the outside there and avoided any trouble. He wouldn't have even been close to the 72. Instead, he turned down and hooked him there, and they both ended up in the wall.
A big moment in this race as well for the 28 Ford of Ryan Reed, who's blown the motor on that 28 car, as Alexa Lushon's going to get her lap back here. And the lights seem to be out on the pace car. We're having trouble finding words for this. A lot has happened over the last 5 minutes that has really changed things.
Yeah, for Ryan Reed, that's just insult to injury, unfortunately. That
story of his playoffs,
really just tough. I mean, yeah, it's the whole time. 81 points back right now on the leader. That's pretty much 2 races behind. You'd need to win pretty much the rest of the races, have some problems for some other guys, and that's just not the day they wanted. I mean, you're trying to survive here, gain some spots, and boy, is that tough. I just feel so bad for that whole team there, for Ryan Reed. But wow, it's been a heck of a couple of laps here. High drama at Chicago.
And now Cody Goforth has it all to do in their second half of this race. He lines up on the restart in 36th position, while Henry Thomas, his main championship rival, starting 5th. So, as they run right now, he would lose a colossal amount of points. He needs to minimize the damage. We'll see if he's able to do it. But for right now, it is Kanalka and O'Quinn leading us to the restart.
Yeah, it'll be all eyes on that 01 car, but for now, up front, we need to see how these guys restart. The 7 car was fast over the last run, but there's a big move from the 38 to the bottom, and here's our leading playoff driver as well to the bottom, Logan Williams, who was leading before this caution, now with a big opportunity to possibly win with 2 of the fastest cars out of the race.
And you got to keep in mind as well for Henry Thomas, he's surely been made aware of the situation. He knows that he's basically got an open goal at this point. Don't take any unnecessary risks in that 12 camp. If you can bring it home and on the podium, solid day, you're probably going to be in a really good position for this championship. But I don't know, at this point in the season, do you really take those words to heart, being a race car driver?
I don't know. I mean, you have to look at the people he's racing. There are 3 cars who really were in the hunt going into this race, and of course it could change, especially with Logan Williams doing so well. It could change coming out of this race. So I think for Henry Thomas, stay within touch of Logan Williams right now, and Earl Sear has been really nowhere to be found. I mean, top 15 day, but not really. You can see him back there.
Yeah, he's in 11th. He's in 11th place right now, which is not bad, but he needs better.
Yeah, he needs to be closer to Henry Thomas to really make up that gap. He was 15 points back, and of course, Cody Goforth, we just saw, he is still in last place right now, so that car keeping up, but he's not going to be able to contend for the win. So for Henry Thomas, keep that 83 close, and you're going to come out of this race with a solid gap over the other drivers. And there goes Logan Williams around the outside, a huge run. The 83 car, I think, has used the outside lane better than pretty much anybody else except for Kanalka, I think, today, and making passes very effectively doing so. Very good for the 83.
So for right now, I think Thomas is content where he's at right now. 4th place is a very good place to be. It's 39 points in the bag. Plus, he's led this race already. That's 40 points. With Goforth mired in the 30s, he's scoring, what, 10 points maybe at best? So that's already a 30-point swing in the 12's favor. So heading into Rockingham, he's going to be in a really good shape.
Yeah, and there's Goforth. You can see they were able to make some repairs, enough for him to get out there and keep pace, but he's not going to be anywhere near as competitive as he was. I'd be shocked to see if he got a top 20 in this race. He's hoping for some other cars to have issues. Every car that goes out of this race will be an extra point for that 01 machine. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the rest of this race. He might be able to make some passes. But yeah, he's going to be in a hole. He's going to have to dig out of it in the next 3 races.
As much as I said, Henry Thomas should try and keep his nose clean. He's not really doing a good job of it because he's in a hornet's nest back there. But back at the front, Williams now to the inside of Kanalka. These two have probably been some of the best cars here tonight so far, and they're battling side by side for the lead with O'Quinn keeping a close watch.
Yeah, and Kanalka had really shown up within the last 20 laps in this race. He had that huge run in the outside lane and got blocked big time by the 83, and since then, the 7 has been part of the picture, possibly attempting to win the race. And I'll tell you what, I was just saying about Henry Thomas, keep the 83 in your windshield, and you don't have to worry about the 3 because he was running so far back. Well, all of a sudden, that 3 car has come alive. He is right there on the tail of Henry Thomas. He's in 6th place right now. So, yeah, Henry Thomas still facing some challenge from some close competitors in the championship standings, especially Earl Sear, who is turning it on in the second half of this one.
Well, now the main thing for Thomas is he's in a podium position, and it's 41 points in the bank. If he can get by the 83, that's 46 points. Every single point matters in this race. And look at not regarding points at all, but look at Robert Weaver with that huge run down the back straightaway. He's still unconfirmed for next year. They've been negotiating. They want to keep him in that car at Robbers Racing, but negotiations are still ongoing. I think a run like this is much needed for this guy.
Yeah, Robert Weaver, definitely a driver that you'd want to be driving your car. We've seen some really great things out of this machine and that driver this year so far. I think that he should have a good case to make for himself, especially after a run where he's passing Logan Williams right now on the inside lane. A great day so far for Robert Weaver. That whole team has been stellar today, other than the ones that have ended up in the wall.
And how about this run right here, that blue and yellow car, David Meskey in the 42, trying to get his first top 10 finish of the season since his win back at Daytona all those months ago to start the season. He has yet to get a top 10 since, but
wow.
This is a sterling job from the 42 to make his presence known. He's going to Fingai Saitomi next year. This is going to validify everything that Jeffrey Fingai saw in him.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the Cleveland machine of Earl Sear has just gone around Henry Thomas, so that is a huge moment in this race, and the caution is out. James Ellison has damage.
Oh, and that is this just continues a rough run of form for James Ellison.
Looks like Arnold is involved.
Yeah, Brian Arnold. That's a playoff driver, you got to remember. So
he was 6th in the standings going into this race, 48 points behind, 1 point ahead of Ryan Griffin.
But yeah, going back to what I was saying about James Ellison, it has been a rough run of races since his win at New Jersey Motorsports Park. He has been pretty, other than the race at Denver last week, he has had a miserable run to end to end the season, and I don't know. Maybe it's
so
just
tough to see.
Yeah, it's just the morale has got to be low. But everybody's
a lot of exciting stuff for that team going into next year, though.
Yeah, and while everyone's coming to pit road, one car is doing the opposite. Benjamin Snyder, in that 5 car, he's going to try his luck on old tires.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think it's been too many laps for that strategy to work. We're going to find out, however, if it does or doesn't work, for sure. It's going to be interesting.
Honestly, what do you have to lose at this point?
Yeah,
because
sure.
Snyder wasn't going to win this race if he pit with everyone else. It's like
7 had a really quick stop.
Yeah, it's like the Superstar race last week with the Motardash teammates. They weren't going to win following everyone down pit road. They stayed out, and they made it work. So who's to say Snyder won't be able to do the same?
It would have been better if more cars had stayed out with him. You know, he's a lone duck out there.
So he was running pretty close to the front of the field, right behind the 42, who I was just talking about. Arnold might be trying to make a move to his outside. Oh, and it's just, the same situation again.
Wow. That is a hard hit for James Ellison.
Thank goodness for those safer barriers.
Yeah, you know, and it's not a soft wall. People call it a soft wall. It's not soft at all, but it is energy absorbing.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse, but you got to feel for Ellison there, because that was a hefty shot. So yeah, coming out of turn 4, he was trying to maybe set up a move on the 42. I don't know if the 10 was aware of that plan or not, but yeah, there he goes to the inside. And Arnold tries to tuck in, but he's too far ahead.
You know, I think that the 31 just got in there, and he let off a little bit. He let off early. He knew he needed to carry that momentum around the bottom to complete that pass. So lets off early to get on the throttle sooner in that corner. He was going to get up to the inside to try to make that pass into turn 3 and 4. Ryan Arnold just had no idea that was going to happen. Turned down in. Expecting to go behind him, and they both went up into the wall. It looks like Arnold has come out of this better off than a couple of other cars that we've seen in the wall today, but obviously a damper on the day for sure for that 10 car.
But we're going to have a restart on our hands once again, this time with about 15 laps left. And if we don't get another caution for the rest of the race, I'm very curious to see how this gamble is going to pay off, maybe if it does pay off for this 5 car.
Yeah, I'm fascinated as well. I'm a little bit worried that this car is just not going to get a good takeoff speed. We haven't seen anybody restart on older tires today, so we'll see what happens with this car. These tires have gone through a heat cycle now, so they have heated up, and now under this caution they have cooled off again. We'll see what that means for these tires. Sometimes it is better for the tires. Sometimes it's a lot worse, especially on your start speed. So we'll see if those tires spin at all on the start, hoping for the best for this whole field and especially for the driver of that 5 car. But it'll be fascinating to see and who has the fastest reflexes if something does go amiss here on the restart. Is it Kanalka? Is it Logan Williams? We'll find out soon enough, but it's going to be an interesting restart. At least there's nobody lapped down to the bottom lane this time, so no worries there. You've got the whole track that you can work with as you come to the green flag,
which is coming in just a few seconds' time. This is going to be the ultimate pressure cooker moment for Benjamin Snyder. He's never led the field to a restart before, but he's going to be thrown into the deep end here on old tires. We'll see if he can hang on for about 15 more laps as the green flag flies once again.
Yeah, there they go. And there's Weaver to the outside lane already over Logan Williams, and a great start from the 5 car. I was expecting it to go worse. It has gone extremely well for that driver. We'll see what happens coming out of the corner. There's Kanalka going to the bottom lane. That's not the preferred lane, especially with those older tires. You want to be on the outside. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, no grip. No grip at all.
It's not even with the preferred lane, Snyder's not going to be able to hang on, but a valiant effort. We'll see if he can get net gain out of this, with considering how few laps are left, because he still completed the first lap after the restart in 3rd place. Might just try and hang on to it for as long as he possibly can here.
I'll tell you what, if he could stick around in the draft a little bit, he's really only losing time through the corners. The straightaways have been fine for that 5 car. If he could stay within the top 10, top 15, a caution and maybe 5 or 6 laps from now, that 5 car could have day saved. Everybody pits at the same time, matches up that strategy. So I think that was a good call for the 5 team.
Yeah, but look at him, he's sinking. He's sinking fast through the field as Henry Thomas tried to make... Oh, that was close between Weaver and Williams. But Henry Thomas did try and make a move on Kanalka for the race lead. They're banging doors down the back straightaway. And boy, if you're Henry Thomas, you're glad you're ahead of this, because you do not want to risk getting caught up in a melee this close to home.
Yeah, you know, and just last words on Benjamin Snyder in the 5 car. I think So that car started in 34th position. So I think that pretty much anything in the top 15 or top 20 is going to be a net positive for that car if they can get a caution. If they don't get a caution, it won't work out, but their losses are going to be cut. So I think still good move for the 5 car. Get that sponsor a little bit of TV time here. And here's Henry Thomas. When it counts, this 12 car is always going to be fighting for the lead and for the win. He has passed Logan Williams, and he's fighting with Kanauka for that top spot.
Here he comes down the
over
inside.
10 laps to go. Wow, to the inside. Great move. Really fast. It's not going to work.
Don't think it's going to work because Kanauka had such a good run through the corner. But yeah, you see Snyder back here. He's hanging valiantly onto this race car and onto as many positions as he possibly can. And behind him, Meski and Siermick get a little close to contact. But I mean, I commend the call. It worked last week for certain guys, so might as well if you're that far behind. But I worry because he's already fallen out of the top 10. I'm not sure if he's going to hang on to much more out of that. But we're coming up on the end of this race. We're clubbing up on 10 to go, in fact. And this is far from over. Far from it. We've got a lot of cars in the mix for the win here, as Kanauka and Thomas continue to do battle for the lead. Across the stripe they go. 10 to go. And we got caution again on the Speedway. And it looks as though Tegan Fox's spellbinding run of form as of late has come to an early end here at Chicagoland. Heavy damage on the 78.
You know, I was just about to say, Henry Thomas, if this race goes green, is looking really good with Earl Sear falling back in the pack. Cody Goforth hasn't been able to make up any positions, but now a caution is out, and it all gets reshuffled again. Benjamin Snyder couldn't have come at a better time for that team. They are going to recycle. I assume everybody's going to make a pit stop here.
Because they only pit. They only pit about 6 laps ago. So yeah, it looks like everyone's
stayed out.
Well, Snyder, he might be trying to fit something here where he gets the fresh tires and no one else does to make a barnstorming run up for the field at the end. So keep an eye on that 5 car.
Hey, Benjamin Snyder, I love this call. An incredible couple of moves from this team. Stay out, get yourself some track position, right? And then you just say, hey, if the caution comes out, great. We're going to pit no matter what happens. Everybody else stayed out on this caution. He's going to come out on fresh tires, and he is going to be flying around the outside lane. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch, that 5 car possibly get a chance at a really solid finish today. We're going to see what happens soon here, though, to bring out this yellow. But, man, oh, man, what a great call from the 5 car. I love it.
Well, Fox was having a really strong day once again in this race, but same story. Kent Stevenson, big shunt into the outside wall. We've seen this. We've seen this countless times though today, and it always starts the same way. Oh man, Arnold almost really pancaked into the side of the 78. That could have been a lot worse. One more look at this, and I think Fox was trying to set up a move on the 32, maybe. But yeah, Stevenson just we gotta figure out a way to curb this a little bit.
I mean, it's these drivers on the outside lane. Stay in the outside, for God's sakes. I mean, it's these people on the inside. They're setting up that move for the exit of the corner. Tegan Fox did absolutely nothing wrong here. Let off a little bit early so that you could get that run through the middle of the corner and try to not have to use all the track on the exit. You won't have all the track. You're going to have a car to your outside, and then let off early, and then just people behind not paying attention or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, that is really disappointing way for several drivers today to have their race ended. Wow, it's interesting that this is all played out this way. We're going to have a sprint to the finish here. Very few laps remaining. If we do get another caution, it might just end the race, and it is going to be a dash up front. So if you're Henry Thomas right now, you need to be careful. And I know the wind is so tempting. It's right out the windshield. You can see it, you can smell it and taste it. Another win, 2 in a row after so long without any But you need to think big picture. You need to think this is the best opportunity. This could be a championship winning drive, even if you finish second, third, fourth, even fifth today, based on the results of everybody else in this race. I think that you need to just be careful. It's going to be hectic up front, and if that 12 car ends up in an accident, that is going to be one that just we'll watch back on this season over and over and say what could have been for the 12 car. So we need to see, we need to be careful here if you're Henry Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, you just need to be careful. I'm so nervous about this restart. Who knows what's going to happen.
You do have to keep in mind, though, you're talking big picture. What better way to extend your championship lead than to go get that win? So it's a double-edged sword, honestly, because
but like the 83 is there's nothing to lose, right? And then especially like even though he's in the playoffs, the 7, the 38, the 66, the 30. Look at all these non-playoff drivers up front. They absolutely have nothing to lose. I mean, the point situation for them, they're thinking win at all costs. So I don't know. I mean, you got to be careful. You got to finish in the top 5, but you got to be careful.
6 laps to settle it. Here at Chicagoland, we're green once again. Thomas has made the immediate move to the outside. He wants this race win, and he wants it bad. He's forcing Williams to the inside of the track, and he's making a run on the outside. We'll see if he gets a run on Kanalka. Oh, Quinn makes it even a bigger move to the top.
Yeah, so right there, that was a big move. You want to get out front because you can't get wrecked if you're the leader. At least that's what you'd think. I don't know. We're going to find out, but he's to the bottom now, side by side for the lead.
And a big move from the 12. He rings the bottom of the track. That's the first time we've seen anyone. First time we've seen anyone make a pass on the inside all night long, and it's propelled Henry Thomas to the lead of the race with 5 laps to go.
Oh my goodness, what a move from Henry Thomas. I was thinking that you really need to be careful, but he went all out to try to win this race, and it is incredible. We just saw the 5 way back in the
yeah. I was meaning to say he was going to be held up by Lucian and Arnold back there. Probably wasn't, but that's a shame for the 5 team. Excellent strategy, just wasn't in the right place at the right time. But now back at the front of the field with 4 laps to go. Oh, Quinn to the inside of Kanalka. Could the 7 make a move on the 12 from there?
Yeah, and Logan Williams nowhere to be found in this top 5 or top 7 even. He's barely even in the top 10 anymore, so a terrible restart for Logan Williams, who looked like he had a great day. There's only 1 playoff driver in the photo. Well, there's 3 now, but in the top 6 or so, there's only 1 driver. He's leading the way, and he's pulling away. It's Henry Thomas, the playoff points leader. He has had an incredible final stint in this race, and he set himself up perfectly to finish this race off in first position.
And honestly, with these guys battling so intensely behind him, he can just check out, run away from the field. We're coming to 2 laps to go. Kanalka and Weaver making a huge run around the outside, but I don't think they're going to get him in time.
I don't know. There's only 2 laps left at the line here. And if they can work together down the straightaways and possibly run an outside lane, they need some clean air on the front, on those noses. It looks like the 7, I don't know, they're still on the bottom. I'm not sure. I think you might be right. The 12.
They handle better down there, but they're not as fast. And Henry Thomas is having the best day of his life aside from that Denver race. This one might even be worth more, considering how much he's had to fight for it. Coming to the white flag right here, car number 12.
Yeah, just to emphasize one more time, Cody Goforth is all the way back in 30th plus position in this race right now. So he was the closest competitor to Henry Thomas going into this race, and Earl Sear he's in 10th right now. He was 15 points back. So for Henry Thomas, this is huge.
Coming for 3 and 4 for the final time, and Henry Thomas, he had the longest winless streak I think anyone could ever hope for. It took him 1,800 days to get his 2nd win. It's only going to take him 7 more to get his 3rd. Henry Thomas, a winner again at Chicagoland.
Oh my gosh, and we are going to be talking about this for a long time in playoff history. Have you seen somebody capitalize quite like this? I mean, what an incredible couple of weeks for Henry Thomas. First, to have a huge gain, break that 1,800-day winless streak. I mean, that is absolutely incredible for Henry Thomas last week and this week to back it up with a move on the inside. We hadn't seen anybody make a move on the inside for a pass all day. He does it to take the lead, drives away from everybody. He needed to be careful. He had no cars around him, so he's putting qualifying laps together, goes out there, wins the race, and the gap that he's going to have in the points after the race, oh my gosh, it's going to be incredible. And the last 3 races, he's got to have solid finishes, and I mean, don't crown him yet, but it is going to be tough to beat him in those 3 races after these 2.
And with Cody Goforth coming across the line in 22nd position in this race, it could have been a lot worse, but at the same time, the gap is now, what was a 2-point gap is now 32 points.
Oh,
and that, like you said, that's going to be a lot to overcome. But Cody Goforth, he knows what he has to do now. He doesn't have much to lose anymore either. He needs to go all out to try and win these last few races to give him a chance going in the Homestead, where we know he is wicked fast.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I'm so excited to see the last few races in this series. It has been incredible so far.
So, with that being said, from Duke Anzac and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Chicagoland Speedway. My goodness, what a race we just had. A lot of electrifying performances from up and down the field. But special mention has to be mentioned to our race winner, Henry Thomas, for the 2nd week in a row. He was barren of wins for 5 years. Now he's got 2 in 2 weeks. How about that turnaround for the Venta Motorsport 12 team?